found out at the first ultrasound appointment that there could potentially be some complications with this pregnancy. I ended up being on bed rest in the hospital for about a week, and coming on to the end of the 25th week, I unfortunately went into labor again. The first time they were able to hold it back, and did go into labor and delivered Eli weighing 1 pound 14 ounces.
It's the scariest thing in the world to have your baby here. Nobody wants to have their baby here in NICU, right? Like it's not something that anybody plans for. You plan to have your term baby happy and healthy and be able to take it home.
After a couple of days in the incubator, he was moving around beautifully, and everyone was saying that he was a textbook preemie. He was doing so well, and they were feeling very hopeful for him at that point in terms of something, more severe happening. However, he started to become very kind of lethargic. He wasn't moving around very much. His stats were kind of all over the place, heart rate, and showed signs of an infection. So they brought in the portable ultrasound equipment, and he had had an intraventricular brain hemorrhage.
At about 25 weeks gestation, about 30% of premature infants will suffer a brain hemorrhage. The ultrasound machine is able to assess the brain. We scan through the soft spot in the infant's head, and we're able to determine whether any bleeding has occurred, where the bleeding has occurred, and the degree of bleeding.
It was really devastating, the long walk down the hallway to meet with the doctor. And actually the nurse who was taking care of Eli that day came to support us in the room, which was great. But it was an absolute blow and a complete devastation. We were told that Eli had a very high chance of being severely disabled.
As the dad, you feel quite helpless. There's not really a whole lot that I can do, and that's not a role that I like to play. You want to feel like you can control a situation or add to it, and really you can't.
Sometimes transferring these patients can pose an additional risk to their health. And with portable ultrasound technology, we can take that technology to the bedside.
This is the one that we currently use. It has only one handle on it, so I can only drive it in one direction. And this is an old style monitor, the CRT monitor. It's really large. The newer units now have the flat screens that will fold right down compact. And they often have a handle on the front or the back, so I can maneuver it in whichever direction that I need to. And they'll also have a smaller wheelbase, which allows us to maneuver around the ventilators and the IVs and the incubators at the bedside much easier.
Space is really tight, so when the baby needs you, it's then a matter of trying to maneuver everything around to get into the baby again. So that it'll certainly be wonderful to have a smaller, more manageable piece of equipment.
We need to make sure that our babies and our children have the best care possible, and it matters, and all of the care that Eli received matters in terms of his growth and his development, and we need to make sure that we have the best up-to-date equipment that's available. When the brain hemorrhages came, we were told to expect developmental delays, and also that some things may just not turn out the way that we hope for Eli. The first few months coming home, we were absolutely petrified. Every single milestone, our family ran around this house celebrating. The smile, the first smile, I yelled to Shane downstairs, "He's smiling!"
His adjusted 1 year, or his corrected 1 year, he actually took his first steps without cruising, without holding onto furniture. He took 4 or 5 steps and landed on his bum.
You want them to, fit in with other kids, and you worry so much as a mom. And for him to have hit all of his milestones at this point he's not even developmentally delayed, which we were told to expect with the micro-prematurity, without the hemorrhages. So it's just been, I'm going to use the word overwhelming,
it brings tears to my eyes. It gives me goosebumps. Like it's the biggest thrill ever. Like that just makes my day, it makes my week. That's what your career is all about, right? And it just brings it back when I'm taking care of other little ones. That, you know, when you have those bad days and, you know, the cranials come back and things aren't looking good and, you know, you have parents crying, it brings it back that miracles absolutely happen. It's incredible to see them doing that well.
It takes a very special person to work in a children's hospital, to show the caring and compassion, not only to the children but to the parents.
Thank you just doesn't ever seem like enough. They were so gentle with him and so nurturing.
Eli is Eli, and he's going to be, you know, amazing.